Can a military strategy from over 30 years ago predict exactly what is about to happen in the Middle East today? When the current conflict in Iran broke out, observers generally assumed the United States would follow a specific playbook. The plan appeared to be a fast-moving campaign that relied on airstrikes and avoided putting American soldiers on the ground. Washington was essentially counting on one of two easy ways out. Either the leadership in Tehran would collapse from the inside, replaced by a moderate willing to negotiate, or the Iranian people would launch a massive uprising to overthrow the government themselves. But as both of those scenarios quickly fade from reality, Washington is finding itself boxed into a corner. Now, military leaders and politicians are starting to whisper about the possibility of a direct ground invasion. Let's look at why those easy options are falling apart. First, the hope for a moderate successor. The person currently predicted to take over is Mojtaba Khamenei. He is a powerful figure within the Iranian power structure and the son of the current supreme leader, known for being a strict hardliner rather than a negotiator. He represents a continuation of the exact same entrenched leadership dynamic that the U.S. originally hoped to bypass. Israel has also added a major complication to this succession crisis. The Israeli defense minister recently stated that anyone who steps up to lead Iran will immediately become a target for elimination. That statement effectively closes the door on any smooth, peaceful transition of power. So what about the second hope, a massive citizen uprising? Heavy airstrikes hitting civilian areas, including reports of strikes near schools and hospitals, are having the opposite effect of what U.S. strategists intended. Look at this reaction. Instead of turning their anger toward their own government, many Iranians are rallying together. The airstrikes are fueling a surge of intense anti-American and anti-Israeli sentiment, driving people to protest the foreign intervention rather than their own leaders. When there is no moderate leader waiting in the wings, and a population is uniting against foreign bombs rather than demanding internal change, the foundation of a quick, hands-off victory disappears. Without an easy exit strategy, the U.S. administration is now setting an incredibly ambitious agenda. They're refusing to place limits on their military operations, effectively handing the Pentagon a massive to-do list. This checklist shows the 4 massive U.S. military goals currently under discussion. First, they want to destroy Iran's missile capabilities. Second, they aim to eliminate the entire Iranian Navy. Third, they want to guarantee that Iran can never possess a nuclear weapon. And fourth, they plan to cut off all funding and direction to Iran's allied proxy forces, the militant groups they support operating outside their territory. Achieving all 4 of these goals requires stripping a nation of its entire military power. It effectively demands total surrender. This raises a crucial question. Can the U.S. actually check off that massive list using only the tools they want to use? Airplanes and drones? To find the answer, we have to look back at the historical blueprint for this exact type of strategy, the United States campaign against Iraq in 1991. Back then, the U.S. aggressively bombed Iraq from the sky. They simultaneously encouraged local populations to rise up, hoping the combination of heavy air power and civilian unrest would topple the government without requiring a massive American ground presence. But the strategy failed to change the government. The local uprisings were brutally crushed, and Saddam Hussein's regime survived the relentless bombings. The air campaign broke infrastructure, but the political leadership remained entirely intact. It took another 12 years and a direct invasion to actually remove him from power. Military history shows that while dropping bombs from the sky is effective at breaking things, it rarely forces a government to collapse. To achieve these types of absolute goals, you ultimately have to send your soldiers to walk the ground. Fast forward to today's conflict with Iran. It seems that military leaders in both the U.S. and Israel understand this historical limitation. Right now, they are looking for a loophole. Reports indicate they are trying to convince local Kurdish militias to launch a ground attack, while also relying on small teams of Israeli special forces slipping across the border at night. This is an attempt to get the necessary results of a ground war without paying the steep political cost of sending thousands of American troops into harm's way. But if these local militias and specialized units aren't strong enough to achieve those 4 massive goals, the options run out. A direct U.S. ground invasion becomes the only logical path left to finish the job. And that leads us to the most significant physical obstacle to any ground troop theory: the geography of the country itself. Look at this landscape. Iran covers a vast territory, with its borders protected by treacherous, jagged mountain ranges. These peaks create a logistical nightmare for any foreign military attempting to invade. This is the ultimate trap. The U.S. is demanding regime-altering results, but the only historically proven way to get them requires invading a geographically unconquerable fortress. Thank you for watching. If this breakdown helped you understand the mechanics behind the headlines, please like, share, and subscribe to Global Lens for more accessible explanations of complex global issues. We'll see you in the next one.